Good evening. This is a meeting of the Great Barrington Finance Committee via Zoom on Tuesday, January 27th, 2026, beginning at 6 p.m. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, General Law 30A, Section 18, and Governor Healy's March 3rd, 2025 order extending remote participation by all members in any meeting of a public body. This meeting of the Finance Committee will be conducted via remote participation. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with a right and/or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the town's website. For this meeting, members of the public and committee members may attend the meeting remotely following the instructions at the top of this agenda, and every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. Pursuant to Massachusetts General Law 7C 30A and Section 20, Parent F, after notifying the chair of the public body, any person may make a video or audio recording of an open session of a meeting of a public body or may transmit the meeting through any medium. At the beginning of the meeting, the chair will inform other attendees of any such recordings. Any member of the public wishing to speak at the meeting must receive permission of the chair. The listings of agenda items are those reasonably anticipated by the chair, which may be discussed at the meeting. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by law. So good evening. Let me call the meeting to order and roll call. Anne,
Here.
Madonna,
You are
Are we recording? Yes.
yes, we are.
Okay.
So Anne is here, Madonna is here, Milena,
Yes, here.
Michelle.
I'm here and I'm also recording.
Thank you, and I am here. Are there any other people recording for this meeting?
Usually I do make an audio recording, but Michelle, you are recording, so I'm not gonna, that it helps me because then I can use my earbuds. Okay, I'm not going to.
I think we have someone from the press here. I don't know, is anyone else recording the meeting?
It says the Berkshire Edge is using something called recording notes. I don't really know what that is. So it looks like
Probably it's something that will allow them to read
transcribe,
and remind. Yeah.
It's a note taker.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the
Great.
old days, he used to be a stenographer. Now, and I'm old days.
Okay. Yes, I know I am. So let's move to committee member announcements or statements. I have some announcements. I let everyone in the committee know, and I've sent a letter to the select board and to our town manager that this will be my last year on the finance committee. I'll be leaving the committee after the election day in May. So I know I've discussed with all of you a little bit, but the reasons are personal, and I'm not going to go into the reasons, but I wanted you all to know what an incredible experience this is and continues to be for me. And I thank you all for being the people that you are and for making these pleasant meetings and substantive. And we work well together, and thank you very much. Anyone else from the committee have any announcements? Hi, Madonna.
I disagree with your announcement. I want you to stay.
Thank you. I hope that you understand that this is not an easy decision I made in a brief period of time, and there are other reasons behind it that make it
sure, but
imperative.
I really like you on this committee. You're thoughtful and you always bring up good subjects, and I want you to stay. So maybe you'll change your mind. Don't say it's etched in stone yet.
Thank you for your comments, Madonna. Anyone else have any announcements they would like to make today?
Michelle has her hand raised, Rich.
Oh, Milena.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I really appreciate all the work you have done. I think you were a great person to lead the committee, and I think we reached some really good milestones. And I know it was a lot of work for you, and you are also on the CPC, and I know a lot of meetings, a lot of stuff going on, and so we are very, very much appreciative of all what you have done, Rich. Thank you. And again, with Madonna, if you do change your mind, we would be only very happy.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the kind comments. I don't see, yes, okay,
So
Milena
Rich,
and Michelle.
Michelle has, and I,
Michelle.
yeah. Mhm.
Yes, Michelle?
Hi, since Rich just spoke as far as his resignation, I will not be running for election in May for a seat on the Finance Committee. I just want to announce that. Again, I did the same thing Rich did. I informed the Finance Committee as well as others. This gives someone else an opportunity to perhaps take out nomination papers and run for a seat on the Finance Committee.
Great. And then Anne,
Yeah,
you are
thank you.
Town of
Yeah.
Great Barrington
Yeah,
host.
right.
Yes, Anne.
Sorry. Yeah, you're gonna have two Town of
That's
Great
okay.
Barrington. Yeah, I had planned to sort of thank Michelle for her year of service coming on in this time when we had an empty seat and we needed another person. It was Michelle. It's always great to work with you on a committee, and I think you all know this is my final year on the committee as well. And Rich, I also want to thank you, and particularly for serving as chair. I know how hard it is to be chair. It's a lot of work. And I agree. I think you've done it with conscientiousness and attention, and I really appreciate that. And I enjoyed working with you as well.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Madonna has her hand up again. Hi, Madonna.
Hi. Well, this is big news. Do you think it's because you don't want to be on a committee with Milena and me? I mean, I'm beginning to think that could be it. Just saying. But thank you, Michelle.
Yeah.
You've been a valuable member.
Oh,
Annie,
is that directed to me?
say
I'm
that.
sorry.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't. Yeah, we didn't know.
I
who
was
you were.
quiet. I just thought you were yelling at everybody.
No.
No.
There's multiple reasons, and
Oh, I know you're very thoughtful. So
that being said, I just want someone else to have an opportunity, and I hope
know.
someone does. There are 3 seats available now on the committee, so
So all of us are hoping that very much. That's why I know that Michelle and I made the decision to let everyone know this early, even though we are going to be here and working diligently through town meeting. And but we thought this is the best time. That way, papers can be taken out. Nomination papers can be taken out on the 11th of February. And they only have a month or so to return them. So it's best for other people to be thinking about having this experience and serving the town. Great.
and it is an experience.
It is indeed. And you've been through it a few times. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate, I have appreciated having you on the committee, Michelle. You are a wonderful, diligent citizen who pays attention to things, and you like to drill down and get as much information as you can, and you're very aware of all the meetings that are going on in town. It's very impressive, and I thank you.
Thank you.
So Milena, again, I see your hand up.
I mean, I'm a bit stunned here. And did you say you are gonna be getting off the committee also?
Yeah, I announced that I think in November or December.
Yes.
Oh, I must have missed it because maybe I was out or whatever. I'm like, I have to recover from all this.
Okay, yeah, I know.
Well,
It's going to be a
I
new
just didn't
committee.
realize that. I mean, I knew about Michelle. She put it out there a while ago, then Rich, and now I was not aware of you also. So yeah, I mean, thank you for mentioning it.
It must be said that that Anne has been on the committee, will have been on the committee for
I totally understand that.
9 years, and her service has been fundamental.
No, I think Anne has given up part of her life to this committee, and we were
Yes.
all very, grateful for that. I just did not realize that was also going to happen at the same time. So I think Madonna, you and I, we have to talk. I think that must be either you or I. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. And
And I would wax poetically also about working with Allison and starting to work with Liz, but we have many more months ahead of us
yes, we do.
to
We're not
work
going
together.
away.
So
We're
we
not
have
going
plenty
away
of time.
today.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So,
So moving on to other topics, I don't think anyone else had other announcements to make. I don't see any other hands from the committee up. So now we're moving to approval of minutes from December 16th, 2025. Did everyone have a chance to review the minutes, and do we have any corrections that are important to be made? Hearing none, I make a motion that we approve the minutes for December 16th, 2025.
second,
Roll call, Anne,
aye.
Michelle,
Aye.
Milena,
I
Madonna,
Aye.
and I am I. It's unanimous. And now we have our wonderful town manager, Liz, here to start us to better understand, go deep down, better understand the budget process that we are now in the midst of. And I will turn it over to you, Liz.
Thank you, Rich, and good evening, everyone.
Can I just ask before, sorry, Liz, before you do that, and could you put up that chart that Liz sent around? I
Yep,
think that
I'm
would
in
be
the
helpful.
process right now.
Okay,
Yep.
very good. Yeah.
Excellent.
That is part of the packet as well.
Yep.
That you have from me.
Yep. So, Anne, can you scroll down just a little bit so we
Yep.
can get into more of
Where
January
we are.
and February?
Yeah. Oh, sorry,
Perfect.
hold on.
Yep, that's okay.
Oh, God, sometimes I hate PDFs. Okay.
There you go. That's good.
Excellent. Okay. All right. So, we are in the thick of it and we're getting close to presentation time. So actually today on January 27th, we are moving forward as scheduled and as anticipated. So we have yet to amend the calendar that was last updated on December 11th that is online for you all and for the public. Today, on Tuesday, January 27th, I met with the department heads and we went through all of the FY 27 capital requests that have been submitted to me. They have submitted also up to 5 years to build our capital improvement plan. But it is still a work in progress. So you will see kind of some empty slots in FY 30 and 31 because this is a new exercise for the most part for everybody. So it'll be constantly fluxing, but we did review the FY 27 capital items today. There were a total of 35 that have been submitted to me to date. And the process of that was that each department head had to present. So it was a full department head meeting. It lasted well into the afternoon, and we started at 9:30 this morning. And they went over it in front of everybody and presented their capital request. They were able to talk things through. We were able to actually brainstorm different scenarios and possible other funding sources. They discussed, it was a very collaborative effort, and it was one of those moments which was wonderful to see that everybody was considered equals in the room, that regardless of if you were submitting a $30,000 one application versus you'll see like DPW obviously has a significant amount of requests that they typically review and submit. So, but everybody was treated equally in their presentations, and it was a very thorough analysis done by all the various department heads. They asked very detailed questions in making their presentations or their submissions even stronger. So it helped them anticipate what the presentations before you and the select board in the future will be if those projects are going to be within my recommendations of moving forward. Now, that being said, each of the projects also were then reviewed. They will be reviewed for the next couple of days by the department heads. They have access to all of the submission material, and they will be going through a rating system that a criteria that then they rate each of the FY27 capital projects, and they will be submitting those ratings to me on Thursday. That I will be using for my criteria on how to evaluate and consider different projects and merits across the whole organization by all department heads. So it's not just me that is reviewing it. I have all of my department heads who are also advisors to me and to the community. They are evaluating it for me. So what you will see in my budget presentation submitted on February 13th is a very collaborative effort and exercise from start to finish. I think Allie was there. Allie was there, and it was something completely different. And we were talking about it later in the afternoon in preparation for this meeting. And I thought it was a really wonderful exercise. I don't know, Allie, if you have anything to comment on it.
Yeah, I agree completely. It was great.
Yeah. So, and it really informs everybody about what is going on in the community, where things are is being seen as important or priorities for each of the departments. So moving forward from that, Allie and I have begun working on in preparation for next week, which is Tuesday, February 3rd. It will be a joint meeting with the FinCom and the Select Board. I will be presenting kind of the standing or the status of FY26, and then going through kind of the standard expectations for FY27 forecast. So you can see, you can kind of expect what numbers and percentages that I am including in certain things. And I think you have your hand
Yeah,
raised.
Liz, can I ask two questions? One question is, in closing, presenting fiscal year 26 standing. And Ally, I'm just wondering, what's the status of closing out fiscal year 25?
Well, I'm glad that you asked that question.
Or not, but that's okay. I had to ask it.
No, actually, I am pleased to announce that I did successfully close out FY25 Munis.
Okay.
I'm in the process now of getting the reports together. So
Okay.
in the very near future, you will see the year-to-date budget reports through June 30th, so you can see the year ending totals.
And so might it be that on the 3rd, we get that report as well as part of the packet for that meeting?
Probably.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We're hoping for that.
Okay, and then my second question is the external assessments, which this line up here in gray. And
Yep.
and Liz, I know understandably this is something you have much less control over, but just
Yes.
wondering, it sort of says mid to late January, and I'm sorry if I missed it when you were talking earlier. Where
No.
are these all?
Nope, those are coming in. We have preliminary percentages, which are very conservative. So they are higher than what they usually tend to come in. So we can have a little buffer and then just have more wiggle room when the more final numbers come in. So we're not just caught off guard.
Okay.
And so we have, the school at their meeting. Michelle was at the meeting where Peter gave kind of an assessment and preliminary numbers. They're looking at around 7% currently, but that nothing has been formally submitted to me. Retirement board, there is a meeting tomorrow with that, which our our treasurer, is going to be attending for me on that. And we're going to get some better numbers on that. The health insurance as well for that. Veteran services, I have meetings with the veterans agent this week. And so again, we're staying on schedule, Anne, as far as getting those external assessments included
Okay.
in our budget. The Southern Berkshire Volunteer Ambulance, that is, I got some soft numbers on that, but we are entering into a more concrete contract. So I am in the middle of having those discussions with them rather than them coming up with a number that doesn't have any kind of um, substance to the justification for it. So,
Okay.
so also because we need to have just some clear, defined vendor established relationships with them, that we can have a 3-year contract and know what our funding is to have more stability with
Right.
our own town resources. So those are coming in, and we are staying in on schedule, Ann.
Okay, great. All right. Thank you.
And yes, and that will be outlined in the February 3rd meeting as to what are kind of the estimates that we're guessing and anticipating. So you can know what we have to work with. Again, with the forecast, I kind of know I have a preliminary number for the capital as far as what's been submitted. Once we get the free cash certified and I follow also the guidelines and policies that the Finance Committee and the Select Board have adopted for guiding me to craft the budget, I will be going through all of that as well in my February 3rd outline, and using that as the guide for also evaluating our current standing for FY26. So we can have a good range of where our stabilization, our reserves, all of those kinds of things, to make sure that we are reminded of what the guidelines that you have established for us moving forward. Okay.
Okay.
And once after all of that on February 3rd, then I will be working on the final budget submission to Select Board and you on Friday, February 13th. So that's a kind of an odd day to have a budget submission. I don't know if it's an omen or what, but I'm going to take it regardless. So you will have it in electronic form, as well as if you will have the budget binders as well. It is going to be a lot more robust. I did tell you that earlier, and I'm not lying to you when I say it. It's going to be a lot more robust. You're going to have a lot more information, a lot more data, and backup material to justify any of the capital requests and other elements. It also will have justifications for any changes. It'll have documentation on where budget lines are being shifted to be more transparent with the actual real true costs of these operating costs within the general fund and the wastewater enterprise. So there's going to be, I'm being very open and upfront to you. There's going to be some changes in it. It's going to be a lot, but I'm giving you advanced some 10 days to actually look through it. And I'm going to, very similar to all of the things that I have submitted to everyone in the town, I'm going to be very descriptive in carrying you through in paper format and hard copy on how and why my decision's making, so you can follow through. And then you have that preparation in advance before my presentations to you all. Okay. Moving on February 24th, at the end, we will have 2 rounds of meetings just for operating on February 24th and 25th. These will be joint meetings with the Select Board, where you'll have access to the department heads for technical questions, but it really should be kind of already laid out in the budget books, so you can follow through, but this will be more of the in-depth questions. So you'll have 2 full days of meetings for those discussions with the department on just operating. The following week on March 3rd and 4th will again be joint meetings with the Select Board, where we will just discuss the capital items that will be recommended by me. You will be able to see what the department heads had recommended, and then also what I am recommending. So you can have that comparison of all of the things that were brought before me, and then my justification for what I am recommending moving forward. It might not be everything, it might be piecemealed, or it may be that I am creating phases within the larger scale of a project that we can do little bits and baby steps and fun things. So we're not actually that we're not bonding for a full project when it's not necessary, that we can fund it through free cash and current expenditures on the tax roll. So that's kind of it in a nutshell, for the bulk of the discussions and the budget to get you ready for it.
Liz, this is Anne again. Sorry.
Yes.
I guess I also just wanted to follow up, and I'm shifting a little bit, but I'm looking at this moving us toward the end of the fiscal year.
Yep.
About the procurement audit or
Yes.
process. Is that happening?
Yes.
Will we get a report on that before the end of the fiscal year, or?
Yep, that's a great question. So it is moving forward. We are finalizing the contract as we speak. I expect that to be signed in the next couple of days before the weekend, and we are staying on target and on schedule with the scope that I had anticipated, that they will start in February and they will have it completed before April. So that way I have documentation and guidance on any types of impacts or obligations that the town has to incorporate into the decision making before the warrant is finalized on April 24th. So we can make some adjustments if necessary.
Okay,
But
great.
yes, it is moving forward according to schedule.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you so
welcome.
much.
I'm sorry, I don't have my hand up, but may I ask, is our anticipated cost going to take the entire 50,000 that we had set aside for the project?
I don't know, Rich. We are actually doing kind of a pay as you go, where we will be doing check-ins, and so we have the fluctuation of once we have kind of more, we don't have to do the full analysis if we have enough information that we kind of have an idea of what's going on, and so I can stop it at any time, I can pick up any time. But they are fully aware of our financial what money that you have generously authorized for this.
Great.
Okay.
There's so much new that is unknown, but it is very clear that we have a process and that we're moving forward in the process. So I have no more questions. Does anyone else on the committee have any particular questions that they're still not quite 100% sure of where our role will be in the grand scheme of this? Hearing none, Liz, are there any other things that you want to sort of talk to us about?
I don't think so for this particular, uh, but I just also want to highlight that that in your policy, your financial policy, it was clear that also talking about fees and revenues to make sure that they pay for the services that are being rendered. And I wanted to make sure that on that schedule at the bottom, at the last of the action, the budget action calendar, you'll see the tentative fee hearing, public hearing. So that also is in line with your financial policy and guidance for me. So that too is the last piece of the FY 16, 26, and then into 27 pieces of the puzzle to anticipate any additional revenue to pay for any proposed services. So I just wanted to remind everybody that that hasn't been forgotten. It is part of the budget process, okay?
Okay. The the only question I have, kind of the strategic priority plan, I keep
Mm,
going back to it and keep looking through it and trying to get wrap my mind around it. It's so different from what the select board had done sort of in a spreadsheet format previously.
yeah,
I mean, I understand there are various areas within town governance that the select board is then saying certain projects that have been brought to them are prioritized within those particular things. And my
yes,
understanding is that document is quite important in all of the processes that you have been going through with the department heads.
yep,
And we ought to, as a committee, continue to review that every now and again, just to be reminded what the select board has sort of prioritized on their end, just to be prepared for what we're going to see
yeah.
in the budget.
Yeah, that's a great point, Rich, because it was actually brought up today during the department heads capital review. They too also had to be reminded of the 6 areas of focus that are identified within the strategic priorities. And it is actually, as you and I talked about, Rich, it is included in their submissions that they have to identify how it actually is aligned with any of the 6 areas of focus, or that it is specific to an actual strategic priority listed within it. And that actually is a criteria within their rating that they're going through the process currently, that we looked at. So the slides that I created a whole slide for each project, which once that is all cleaned up and ready to go, because we did identify some edits that needed to be done. Once that is done, I will be presenting and making that available online. It just needs to be finalized for publication. Okay. So
Okay.
you'll see what it is, but you'll identify or see on the bottom of each slide is the icons representing each of the areas of focus, whether it be infrastructure and assets, whether it be public safety and health, sustainability and environment, housing, economic development, and municipal services. So those are the 6 areas of focus. And each one has an icon represented on it, which you'll see right there. Thank you, Anne, for bringing that up. So those icons right there, you'll see on the slides for each of the capital requests. The departments had identified those and highlighted. So you'll see the fluctuations on each slide is showing different ones that are representing the areas of focus that each capital project can overlap within. Some of them have 1, some of them have 3, and there are actually 2 or 3 that hit all 6 areas of focus. One of them being obviously the master plan. It hits every single area possible. So that will be given a higher rating than some of the other capital requests that are only meeting 1 or 2. But that isn't the only criteria that the department head is using for rating each of them and creating a metric for me to use and evaluating on my end of things. So yes, Rich, this is something that is being incorporated into the decision making, making sure there is alignment with all of the projects that are coming forward, so we can really stay focused and accomplish these identified strategic priorities.
Also, just to be fully clear for myself, all of this background work that you're doing with all the department heads, I mean, they're the ones who are bringing the proposals to you.
Yep.
They're all working together to try to prioritize them for your benefit. But then in the long run, you still have to make some decisions as to
Yeah.
which need to move forward in their current state, or do they need to be adjusted, or do they need to
Yep.
change or divided in various years, right? So I applaud you for for having several layers of justification when they're coming to us.
Yeah.
for review, and then eventually to the town for voting, right?
Yes, and I think it's important that you see what they have proposed, and then the idea behind that, then their ratings, and then where I am. So you can literally see the progress that is being made and the thinking behind all of it. But what I recommend isn't necessarily what you and the select board will ultimately decide. So you can pick and choose too, and then you take it from there. But I do my part. I just give you what I think is the best possible way in a balanced budget. And then you can just take it from there. That's how the charter and the bylaws are written. So,
Right,
yep.
right. Okay, I think my questions are answered for now, but I know this is going to be a moving target. I guess once you have submitted this budget and we can get the budget book and we could look at it online, you're available for questions
Yes.
during that
Thank you.
10-day period
Yes.
before you make a formal presentation to us when we'll have even more questions.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's nice to have so much time to review all of it and be truly prepared for what we're seeing as well. We're not sure about this, and your explanations will really help us a lot in the long run. I want to make sure that everyone realizes that when we're in these budget presentations, Anne is going to serve as the main conduit for our questions because she has been watching over this entire process. All of the department heads will still be in the room, but it won't be
Yes.
like we're used to, where the department heads are themselves presenting their budgets. No, Liz is going to be presenting the budgets for each department. And then if there are questions which Liz cannot answer or which are very particular and technical, the department head is still there to ask specific questions of. I think it's great to have this multi-layered
Yep.
approach. I think that the meetings may go quicker if we all review fully everything in advance.
Yeah, and the reason for that is because this is the town manager's recommended budget. It's not actually, they submit it to me. That is how the charter and the bylaws are created, is that the department heads actually put together their recommendations to the town manager, and then it is the town manager's responsibility to give it to the FinCom and to the select board. Therefore, it is me that has to present these, my budget recommendations to you. And if there are, again, things that I cannot answer as far as technical questions, then I have my advisors, which are the department heads, to be able to assist with those little nuanced details that I don't have the answers yet because I'm so new. But I will be learning, and hopefully that it'll be kind of I will be able to answer and anticipate those questions. It'll get more streamlined and better as we go along and year after year. So, but yes, that is really the mentality of this, that they are there to answer the little questions that you may have, the independent and individual questions, but overall the budget submission is on the town manager's responsibility. Thank you.
Right, and the justifications are clear for us as
Yes.
to why your particular recommendations are the way they are.
Yes, correct.
So, Michelle, you have your hand up.
Yes, I'm a little confused when you mentioned that Anne is the conduit for
Yeah,
questions.
yeah, I'm
I
assuming
don't
you meant,
understand that.
I
I'm
think
sorry, Liz. I'm
Liz,
sorry, Liz.
I know,
Oh,
Michelle.
Liz.
My
I almost had a
apologies.
heart attack.
My apologies. I have so many powerful women on the screen. Sometimes I conflate you,
Oh my
and I
gosh.
I
am
saw the look
sorry.
on Anne's face.
You
I
did?
go, what
Oh,
is
yeah. I was like,
happening?
See, that
I'm
was me
there.
babbling along. So
It's
thank
okay.
you, Michelle, for seeing the
let's,
obvious. Very
Let's
good.
get our
Michelle.
money's worth out of Anne while she's
for a second I thought, did I hear my name when nobody was
I saw
calling?
the look on your face. I go, what? Like that. Okay.
Okay, so
All right. Thank you.
if we rewind my diatribe
It's fine.
back a little bit and we put the correct name in it, was that clear to everyone in that
Yes.
context?
Yeah.
Thank you, Michelle. You always catch me in the right moment. comment. I love it.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
just, yes.
I would have asked it, but then I thought I'd sound crazy. Like, did someone say my name?
I hate to see a still shot of Anne's face in the newspaper or something like that.
Great.
Okay,
Beautiful.
all right, thank you.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Okay. I think I've done all of the speaking I need to do. And Liz, you're complete with anything you want to be sure we're understanding correct today, Liz. I think this really helped me a lot, and I thank you very much.
Yeah, is there any other questions of the budget calendar and the steps coming up? Okay,
I
so
think
yes.
I think
So
the
just
only other question I had previously was, and this is, I want this to be clear for everyone, that on the 13th, this is not a meeting where we're getting
Right, right.
your submitted budget. This is when the budget is available online and the books are available for us to get. That is just merely a date. But the other ones that are in blue are important for us to check our calendars and make sure that hopefully we can attend as many as we can.
yes.
Hopefully all of them.
Yeah, so February 3rd, next Tuesday, is the first real kickoff of the budgets. So
Excellent.
that's the most important date coming up. Okay.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, so shall we move on to a review of fiscal year 26 budget reports for November and December? The reason we moved our meeting date, regular meeting date, 1 week later than we used to have it was so that Ally can have enough time to complete the budget sheets for the previous month. So we're a little bit off because we didn't have enough time to be able to fully review November at our last meeting, and now we have December as well. So I've looked over everything. Has everyone had a chance to review both months' budgets? Does anything come up that as a flag?
I have a few questions.
Okay.
I didn't review the November numbers since we have December numbers, so
Very good.
no need for that. But I had like, first of all, I had like two follow-ups from our last meetings for the town, and one of them was just kind of get an understanding was the tax collection, and the question was, do we see a trend? That more people are being delinquent or the amounts are higher, the total amounts. And my other question was, the last meeting was about the legal fees, kind of what is happening there, because obviously we don't have a visibility into progress on some of those issues and what those issues continue to be. And it's kind of like one of those numbers that can go anyway. You can get out of hand or can stop or whatever. So I just wanted to, before I go into the more detailed questions on the report, I don't know if either Allison or Liz could answer one of those or both questions, the follow-up questions. From our
Sure.
last
So
meeting.
I can, for the tax collection and the delinquents, I can tell you that I will be honest with you, I have not had a moment to focus on getting a status update on that. I have been in the thick of the budget and everything else. So, but that is once my budget submission on the 13th has been handed over to you, I will have a lot more flexibility in my schedule to look into that deeper and
Okay.
talk to the tax collector and learn more and understand it more, ask questions, and then be able to come up with a game plan as far as that is concerned. Okay.
Okay, that sounds good.
As
So we'll do it then when you have more time.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate you
No, no, of course.
understanding.
Yeah, and then any update on the legal fees?
The
Where do you
legal
stand with
fees,
it?
yes, well, I'm watching those very closely. I'm being extremely cautious with any types of requests for legal and even myself not being so quick to ask for responses because I know that every time that you hit the send button, you
There's
you get
that's
pinged and you're
clock
paying
starts.
for it.
Yes.
So those are simple things that we can get out of the habit of just depending on them as much. I can tell you, if you were at the select board meeting last night, one of the legal matters as far as the marijuana is concerned has been settled.
Right.
So that is the final of that one. So that item on our current outstanding matters of legal is being finalized, which is a good thing. So that will be one less item within legal budget that we have to pay for. So, but
Right.
it is being closely monitored. I can
But do you
guarantee
have
that.
any sense? I mean, I think where I'm really trying to get to is the bigger picture. Do you have any sense of, are we gonna be okay, or was everything that I'm sure you are party to, or is there a possible risk that we may not be okay financially?
It's hard to tell to say, Milena, because
Mhm.
with legal, anything could come up. We still have 5 months to go in the fiscal year, and anything could come up that I was not anticipating. So I can't guarantee that we're going to be okay, but all I can tell
Okay.
you is that I'm taking it month by month, watching the numbers. I'm also making sure that department heads are doing equally the same. Ally can attest to that. We meet every other week, and that is the first thing I say is, you better be watching those budgets, everyone, and I do not want to see any deficit. I don't want you in trouble. You better tell me immediately, and we will work out the details. But no more of this, like last minute asks. We're responsible. You expect that from us. The taxpayers expect that from us. So now it is time to do that job. So as far as, again, legal, I'm watching it. I can't anticipate things that aren't,
No, no, I understand that.
yeah.
I mean, I just think that that's one kind of a thing that I'm just not comfortable with, to be perfectly honest, because
Yep.
we have no visibility into it and things can happen. And sometimes
Yep.
those numbers can get quite big.
But
But
as you can see,
yeah,
I'm making a conscious effort of demonstrating more transparency within the current budget. So I'm pulling out specific items like the Housatonic Water Works and actually identifying what the real cost associated with that particular item is, so people can
can
actually
see that.
identify
Yes,
and
I
see
think
it.
that's
So
important.
it is, and the same
Yeah.
thing with maybe personnel, like the generic names of it, I think
Mhm.
is very important to kind of do that on an analysis and data. So yes, I do agree that
Mhm.
there is a
Okay.
lot more that we can educate people on the real costs associated with running this organization.
Okay, great. Okay, so I
Milena,
have just, sorry.
I'm sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt, but can I ask a big picture question before you do the deep dive?
Okay, sure.
Okay, so I just want to just
Yeah, go
note, so we're at 87% of the budget midway through the year. Is that associated with the very large court judgment of about 4.7 million? Is that why we're so much expended of the total budget?
So there's that, and there's the encumbrances. So any encumbrances that could be
I see.
blanket
Okay,
purchase
so we
orders for the
still have
entire
what?
year are going to show up
Okay.
in that percentage.
I
Mhm.
see. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
That's so all set, Melina, I'm good.
Okay, yeah, okay, so sorry. So I am the first question I have, page one, and this is under the select board town manager. Your last line there, which is court and judgments, I'm a bit confused. What is that all about? 4.7 million,
That
Ally?
is the marijuana.
Mhm.
Oh, so this, oh, okay,
Yep.
okay, okay, you got it. All right, very good. Okay, and then I had question on page 4. Um, and that's something, and I apologize, I must have missed it during the conversations we had on the budget, but what is uh involved in the economic development under the planning and community development? What do we call economic development here? And it's about
This line here.
$17,000 being spent there. What exactly goes into that line?
I, 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 Ally, can I take a stab at that? You're muted. Ally, you're muted.
Ally, you're muted.
Sorry, I was just taking a minute to try to log in to see if I could see what expenditures came
What's
out.
in it?
So
Yes.
that actually is the Berkshire Regional Planning assessment to assist us with any types of economic development and consultancy efforts on a regional basis. So that is again, the Berkshire Regional Planning.
So this is what you are saying. This is basically our share to support the regional activity here.
Where they actually support us in
Okay.
return. They give Chris assistance.
No, I mean, they are supporting us, but we are paying our share here.
Yes,
17,000.
correct.
That's what I
Yep.
meant. Yeah,
Yep, that's
yeah.
what that
Okay.
is.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And then my other question was on the same page 4 for the public buildings, the electricity, it's showing at 80%. It's a fairly substantial amount. Is there something going on there, or do we need to worry about it, or
Well,
is it
just
because
remember
of
there's a purchase order in place there. That's probably a blanket purchase order. That's an estimate for the year. See the 88 or the let's see. Where are
42,
you?
42
You're actually
here.
showing the November report on the screen.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm
That's
looking,
okay.
I'm
No
looking at the
worries.
December, sorry,
Oh,
December.
the
No, I
December
mean,
one,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
36,486.37.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So what you are saying, this is just kind of this is a purchase for the future use.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
cool.
It's a
All right.
blanket purchase
Yeah, yeah,
order
yeah.
for the
Okay.
year. An estimate probably will be increased in May, June, as usual.
Right,
as we
right,
get
right.
closer
Okay.
to. Mhm.
Okay. All right. And then I would imagine there is something similar going on with building repairs, which is page 5. You have also like a big purchase order there for what? 131,000. So
Yeah, right here.
yeah.
So, Milena, I believe what you really should be actually looking at are the year-to-date expenditures. Those are the true costs that have already been expended. It's not the encumbrances. The encumbrances is basically setting money aside. It hasn't been spent yet. It's just opening it up of making it available on an accounting level. So they can basically, Ally's given approval
Sorry,
that there's, go ahead.
that's totally not my understanding. I think you have to have you cannot encumber unless you have like a purchase order there, right?
No, I think,
So how can you encumber just because you think it's going to be spent? You have to have a purchase order there.
Yeah,
So you do have an
purchase-
actual expenditure there. What?
Yes, it's the bills that haven't been paid
Obligation.
yet. I'm sorry?
You have an obligation. You have a contractual obligation. You have a purchase order there, right? It is not just showing that what's going to be spent. This is what you already entered into a contractual arrangement with somebody.
Not necessarily. So for example, and I'm going to just use in general, they look at let's say car hardware, and you know that you're going to be spending a lot of money, like $1,000, okay, on everything and anything that is available at hardware that we use for that vendor. And the purchase order opens it up because you know from past years that you have a typical standard of that spend. And using electricity as another example, you kind of what the bills are going to be from past years. So having kind of a blanket purchase order allows the flexibility on the administration side of each department to take the money that has already been opened in the PO and they can pay the bills
Right. No, I
quicker.
understand that.
Right.
I
Okay.
understand that.
So the
But
year to date, we haven't spent that $131,000 yet. We haven't spent it yet. It's just
I
sitting
understand that.
in an open,
It's your
like,
future. It's your future liability. You will be
that's
spending it in the
correct.
future. But what I'm
Right.
saying is because of your billing, timing of your billing, by just looking at your year to date, you don't really know. You really don't know. You have to look at both.
Exactly. And
Yeah,
also the
yeah.
percentage use that number on the percentage used is kind of misleading because it's talking about what you've already spent and also what you're
What you're
putting
going to be spending.
aside.
Yes, I
Exactly.
understand that. I
Okay.
understand that. Yeah,
Okay.
I
Thank you.
understand that. Yeah, 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 yeah. And I just want to see what else I had here. Uh, and then I think sorry, okay.
Rich,
Think,
Malin,
actually, I think it's pretty much. Oh, I know what I had. My question was about the retirement fund, which is your last page, page 11. And so I'm just assuming this basically is coming from our actuarial services. So where how do you guys arrive at these numbers?
So that's an assessment, a yearly assessment that is established by the retirement board that we pay in quarterly installments.
Okay, so this is pretty much given by them. Okay, great.
Mhm.
That's all that I had. Thank you.
You're welcome.
The only question I had was something like on, hold on just a moment, I'm almost there. On page 4, this is under conservation, the line that says transfers out. That's
So if I could just explain that one.
please, yes,
So at the last town meeting, we voted money from the Conservation Wetlands Fund
yes,
into to basically assist in the operating function of the department. And that was when we had a full-time employee. And
I see.
I believe the employee is part-time. Yes, and so that was returned. So half of it was returned. So it was 20,000. We returned 10,000 back to the wetlands fund because it's very specific what you can use those funds for. So since we didn't need it for the salary for the agent, that's why we returned the funds.
I see.
Mhm.
Well, a lot of these are perhaps a bit technical to really know, but it's important for us to sort of see generally where we are. Nothing jumped out at me like, oh, here is a line that's out of control, and because you're doing a lot of work behind the scenes to make sure that we don't have any out of control expenditures, correct? Are you
Yes.
able to shift funds that are assigned to a particular line within a particular department, say planning, community development? Are you able to shift money within planning and human development to cover any changes within that, or is that something that always has to come before us? I'm not sure.
No, town manager has authority to approve transfers from salary to salary and operating to operating within the same budget. And the end of the fiscal year, the year-end transfers that do come to you, that's when we can transfer between salary and operating or between accounts for different departments. But you approve that.
Okay, so there are plenty of things that Liz and administration can do to make sure that the lines are covered and we're not having unexpected additional payments on things.
To an extent, Rich, to an extent. So I cannot move salaries into operating costs, and I cannot move operating to cover salary costs. So those are completely separate restrictions that I do not have any authority to do, nor does Ally. So that is actually covered by Mass General Law. We have no ability to do that. So, and it is only at the last month of the year that we have to go through the process of doing things like that. But also in my comfort zone, I go through a very thorough analysis, and even I have very strong reservations, and I have a very thorough analysis with discussions with department heads who are requesting any types of transfers. And a lot of them, I have to tell you, get turned down. So, and I have to tell them, you have to figure it out and stop spending or whatever. But I have been very involved with all of the purchase orders. Allie, I know she's a one-person show right now, so I'm assisting her with reviewing purchase orders, invoices. I am getting really into the thick of it and assisting her with those reviews.
Great. That answers my question. Michelle, you had your hand up.
Yes, I have a question regarding purchase orders and encumbrances. Today happened to be PO Tuesday for me, you know, that sort of thing. So that being said, in my other life, obviously we periodically review purchase orders to see if any one of those POs have been over encumbered, and we can release some money for another purpose. And so as we get nearer to the end of the fiscal year, particularly in April, May, we're looking at them very closely so we can release those funds. What is the process in the town of Great Barrington? I think you touched upon it once during a meeting when, like you say, for example, you encumbered money for electricity, you're finding those costs are coming in less than what you anticipated, which would be a miracle. But when do you actually do your analysis for the town of Great Barrington?
Usually around May. Actually, I've
Yeah.
already started warning them at
Yeah.
the budget at the department head meetings
Yeah.
about the holdover process, and to be conscious of their purchase orders and make adjustments where they see necessary. I reserve it really till May, just because then it's not back and forth on the purchase order, up and down and up and down. So in May time frame, that's when we start the holdover process, and all the department heads are tasked with reviewing all their open purchase orders within their line items and either decreasing, closing, or potentially increasing if they're expecting an invoice. And that is really to just to reserve the funds for services and goods rendered through June 30th that they may receive an invoice for after June 30th. So that's to hold over the encumbrance.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Allie.
You're welcome.
Milena, your hand is up again.
Yeah, I have a question also for Liz. Liz, we haven't had like a real winter here in last, whatever, 3, 4 years, right? And this year, and I have to give you guys a lot of credit for handling this last one like amazingly well. Do you feel that we may be running out of money in that particular line because we are only in January and we already had like quite a few major storms here. I mean, what are you feeling right now?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And if it just continues, obviously, yes, we are going to be in a deficit, and we will have to account for that at the end of the year, and that will be part of my budget submission that I will have to put money aside so we can anticipate that. So yeah, Milena, it's really hard to tell as far as overtime costs because those are really unknown. It depends on the actual storm event itself and the quality of the storm, whether it's like a mix of ice, this and that, and the weight of things, and then how it impacts any equipment also. So, but I can tell you right now that there are other additional costs that we can predict a little bit better with such as salt and other supplies that I can have a little better of a sense. I may know kind of like 25% forecast for the budget. But planning it for following year for the 27 budget, I will tell you that what I'm going to do, which is good standard best practice, is utilize the last 3 years of an average and move forward because snow and ice is the only budget that you can deficit spend. So using the 3-year average, which obviously this year is going to push us a little higher, but it gives us a stronger sense that we're prepared in the future so we don't have to have that deficit spending if possible.
Okay, and then when we have a year when we didn't have a snow and we had a surplus, what happened with that money? Does it go to free cash or
It does.
free
Yep.
cash? Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
So I see no other hands. Any other questions on the December budgets that Ally prepared? I see, Michelle, you have your hand up.
Yeah, Rich, I'm sorry. I think you have an
Yeah.
attendee that has, is that what you were going to say, Michelle?
Yes,
Oh,
yeah, I just wanted, thank
sorry,
you.
yep.
No, it's okay.
So Eileen has her hand up. Eileen?
I have a question. Oh dear. The very last item in the financial report is negative 351,000. I'm looking for it. So, I'm back to a page. Okay.
Yes.
It's page 1 of wastewater, I believe you're talking about. Is that what you're talking
Okay.
about?
I thought that was wastewater, but I wasn't sure.
Yes,
Oh,
that's
this here?
wastewater
Yeah, this,
treatment.
yeah, it's wastewater. It's WW, yeah, I saw
Yeah,
that too,
okay.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so
All
what
right.
that is, those are indirect costs that twice a year we move funds from wastewater enterprise into the general fund for indirect costs. The costs of my time, the costs of my paperwork, the costs of the treasurer and the collector for collecting those items. So you'll see that that does coincide with the wastewater budget, and you'll see that there's an allocation to general fund
Yes.
in the wastewater budget that's a positive 351. So they balance each
Okay.
other out.
Thanks, Ally.
Oh, you're welcome, Eileen.
Thank you, Eileen. Anything else from you, Michelle?
No, I'm absolutely fine.
Okay, great. So we can move on to our next item of business, and this is my report on the Community Preservation Committee fiscal year 27 recommendations. So you can see in your packet what we ended up with. CPC received applications for consideration totaling $4,164,000. The funds available for fiscal year 27 was $1 million. So we had very good meetings, a good review of all the possibilities for spending or not spending this cash. And these are the items that we went forward with. $325,000 for the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. You know that this fund was set by the residents of Great Barrington, by the citizens, intending this fund to be fluid and have the ability to take advantage of opportunities for buying land or particular buildings for which they can go with other vendors to try to increase housing stock. But they also have programs that are very, very well thought out and are used by the citizenry a lot. Things like helping with down payments on mortgages under certain conditions, which would eventually be paid back to the Affordable Housing Trust in the long run. assisting with rental payments in exigent circumstances. So there are a lot of things that the Affordable Housing Trust Fund does. Over the last few years, the CPC has been moving towards funding the trust to fund all of these various projects rather than having projects come to the CPC directly in the Affordable Housing Trust, in the affordable housing arena. So in most cases, we're expecting the Affordable Housing Trust to follow through on those. That's why this is such a large number. In open space and recreation, is everybody familiar with Old Maids Park in Housatonic? It's not in the village. It's on the other side of 41 on the Williams River, I believe it is.
Yes, it's on,
Right.
practically grew up there. Yeah.
Right.
Aw,
Okay.
mhm.
Good
So
times, good
they're
times.
working on a long-term goal for this park to get a lot of public feedback
Mm.
and improve its use, improve what it's there for. There are other funds available from other departments or other agencies in the state which could help with some of the engineering and some of the demolition if the town wants us to move forward on that particular thing. This money is laying the groundwork for all of these community meetings and setting us up, making sure that this project can move forward intelligently. Playground court improvements. This is the area in the playground in Housatonic behind the old school. They're going to be removing the base basketball court as it originally stands and building it appropriately right to the right way so that it can last for many years and update the equipment for the town. The historic UU Meeting House in Housatonic, they do a lot of funding themselves and they come to the CPC for smaller amounts now and again. We helped them in the past for certain remediation in the basements. I can't describe exactly, but they're very robustly funded in other cases, and they come to us for only a small percentage of the funds that they're requesting. This is the last bit of their re-roofing of this historic Queen Anne building in Housatonic. It's a beautiful building. The Du Bois Freedom Center is in the phase where they are expanding the basement of the building to make it more usable for people who are using the Freedom Center as envisioned in their master plan. We went through much discussion about this, and it is a well thought out plan, and this is not the majority of the funds that they are needing for making it complete. Historic records preservation. This originally came in as a request for $400,000 for preserving documents from the 1760s on through 1960, but we didn't know enough about the documents and enough about the preservation required and enough about what the best course of action to go through and which documents are vitally needed to be updated right away. So this is a background money that is preparing for a very thoughtful way of preserving all of these documents, which are currently not in the best locations, not in the best state of preservation, and everyone has been doing their very best to try to keep them viable. But this is something that the town needs to start looking at. Elmwood Cemetery monuments, there are many broken monuments, some of which are very large and slightly askew or unsound, that this is intended to address. The Brown Mausoleum roof, this was a large request for $91,000, but note on my note here that we've been discussing the Brown Mausoleum and CPC for several years, but DPW is looking at other ways to finish the roof. But the larger picture is that this particular mausoleum, not having any family members still living to take care of it, is going to be under the auspices of the town, and they're going to be able to use it as a columbarium in the future, both for people to purchase that space for their remains and to have a respectful place for the remains of many individuals over the years who are now at the medical examiner's office, and they have no family or no one has come for their remains. And this is an issue that's happening throughout the state, that everyone is looking for a way to respectfully manage these remains. So this mausoleum may have a very robust function in the future. And this won't just be tiling something that will, not be used for much more than it is currently used. So altogether, the amount that we are requesting or have suggested that the town vote for is $993,000. The largest request in this period was for $1,500,000 towards the Ramsdale Library. In the sense, this money would be spent on historic preservation aspects of the plan, but it's a bit premature, but it was good for a deep discussion with the CPC. Over the next half year or so, the Ramsdale Library may be in line now to have this major renovation, or it may be kicked down the road by the state for several years. So we have accepted this proposal, but moved it forward because it will be much clearer in the years to come, months or years to come, what this might entail. And if CPC were ever to move forward on it, it would have to be moved forward on a multi-year bond with conditions. Does anyone have any questions? I see Milena has some questions. Milena, how can I help?
Yeah, I'm kind of interested in hearing. I didn't realize that CPC can issue a bond. So I'm assuming it would be Town of Great Barrington issuing bond.
It would. It would
Okay.
be rolled into the bond that would happen from the town, but the funding source for the payments for that particular section of the bond would be made through CPC funds.
Okay,
We
so
have done this before.
When you say payment, you talk both the principal and interest would be paid
Yes.
from the future, whatever taxes we
From
receive for
future
CPC.
CPC funds, yes.
Right.
We have done this
And
before.
is this,
We have done
oh,
this
we have done it,
before.
okay.
For the baseball field, I believe that's what it is. I don't know the name of the baseball field.
Okay.
You probably all do. Well, anyway, this field was paid for through a similar bond. And so the cost of the bond always comes off before we know how much money is available to the
I
CPC
see.
for other projects that are coming forward.
So you would still have some funds available for other projects, even if you made the decision to issue the bond and
Absolutely, because that would be the only way we would have funds
you'll be able to
available
do
for
it.
other things.
Okay.
As you note, this year was $1 million available. That's
Okay.
the taxes raised plus the amount of money that the state gives to the CPC, which happens every year, but it's different every year.
Every year you don't
how
know
the how
okay.
much money is raised through that CPC tax on the tax, and how much money the state sets aside for CPC throughout the state. That changes each year. So before we start our discussions with CPC, we get a sense of how much money is available.
And I mean, it's my understanding, if I recall correctly, that in the previous years, the amount was much lower than 1 million, correct? Or am I getting it wrong?
It changes each
It can go up
year.
and down.
It can
Okay.
go up and down.
And,
And Liz had her hand up. Do you have a comment, Liz?
I was just gonna say it is standard, Milena, for larger investments such as over $1 million for projects to be bonded through CPC. So big infrastructure projects such as the one that's being proposed for Ramsdale, or if there is a parcel of open space that is, let's say it's 100 acres and it's 2 point whatever $1 million. We don't have that in the reserves for community preservation funds. So it goes into an actual bonding effort. So it is very standard across multiple towns to have that type of operations and policy decision making. So.
Well, it definitely, creates more flexibility that you can fund larger projects through the CPC conduit. So yeah, thank you both.
Are there any other questions from other committee members about this process or our recommendations? Hearing none, yay. Let's move on to the residential exemption and resort designation discussion. Now, Liz, I think, as we discussed, are you available to sort of pull up the slides that were presented to the select board and sort of have a mini go through? Did everyone attend that meeting yesterday? I can ask that first.
I did.
I did.
I know Michelle did. Were you there, Milena?
No, I didn't, but I did review the presentation that
You did review the presentation.
Yeah,
Does
it was
everyone
pretty
feel
straightforward.
does everyone feel it would be helpful to have another look at the whole presentation?
For me, no. It's
Okay.
also on recording on CTSB TV. So I looked at that again as well. So like what I like about that, you can slow it down and stop it and ponder it and that sort of thing. But for me, but I will defer to anybody who wants to go.
I have
Madonna.
I have a quick question for Liz.
Yeah.
I'm on the zoning board and they were sending out notices today to review the residential exemption. And I was like, well, I did that last night. Do I have to do it again? And maybe even tonight? I mean, is once okay? Or is
Well,
better?
that's up to you actually, but to piggyback kind of on what Michelle was saying, the video is available. I actually had the television station pare it down to just the section about residential tax exemption. And then I have one also that they did for the seasonal communities presentation. Those videos, those isolated videos, are now going to be uploaded to the actual website, the town's website, which I have dedicated pages for specifically both items. So it gives you will have all the slides there, the video there. There's also going to be an outreach of inviting public comment, similar. So the select board last night voted for public comment as well as boards and committees to have time to review all of the material, do your research on other communities. I know Michelle had brought up something about the split tax rate being in consideration in partnership with considering residential tax exemption and making those distinctions between the two on when you are evaluating the pros and cons on it. So those kinds of research is necessary. That's why the select board has given a full month's time, actually 5 weeks, to really dive into it, do your own assessment, have the boards and committees go back together, talk about it, and have a collective kind of unified guidance, advisory to then give to the select board, which then they will have time to um, to digest all of the feedback and advisories from the public and the boards and committees and have a public meeting on March 23rd to again have basically round 2 of discussions, but with all of that new data and feedback. So I will, so not only is all of that information going to be available to you when I send out the press release, basically the green light tomorrow, which I plan to do. I'll have all of that ready to go for you so you can look at everything. And there's going to be a public comment portal that people can insert their own feedback, or they can email it to me or hand it in writing. And then once that is received by March 6th, Madonna, I will be actually putting it all together in a full comprehensive report that then everybody can see all of the public comments and everybody can be utilizing and on the same page using all of that feedback for the next discussion on March 23rd. Okay?
So I have a question.
Thank you.
If we as a committee are expected to make a comment as a committee, we can only do that if we have had discussion among ourselves at an open meeting.
That's
And
true.
we have a limited amount of time in which to figure out when we're going to have an open meeting to discuss this. So today is way too soon because none of us have had enough time to digest. And I am interested, Michelle, in your others. The thing that you brought up about the split tax is something I'm unaware of. So I would very much like to know about that. How how do we just research as individuals and then have a date and then get together and discuss that again, and then as a committee give our recommendations or give our questions or our comments? Can each of us individually give our questions and comments as well? That is my basic question, is just process here.
I would really like us to have a conversation as a committee. And, that would, of course, imply that everyone's going to do their part of the homework and just become, familiar with all the possible issues and pros and cons. But I really think we need to have a conversation as a committee, not as individuals. That would be my recommendation. And my other question is, frankly, I'm a little bit baffled by all this because I think it's a pretty straightforward exercise, and there are pretty well-defined guidelines what you can or cannot do. I mean, it seems a very straightforward process for me, and I'm a little bit kind of confused by all the things that I hear from people having very strong opinions about it, not just looking at the numbers, whether it's possible or not possible, but a priori making some statements. So I think it would be good to just kind of really take a very objective look at it and make some recommendation from us as a committee. But I also would like to ask Liz. Liz, if I remember correctly, you worked in a community where they had that, which is one of the towns, Barnstable. Is that correct, Liz?
Yes, yes, it is
Yeah.
correct. I
Yeah,
worked in
and I would very
Barnstable for
I would
8
very much
years.
want to hear from someone like you about the experience of it and what were some of the issues and how were they overcome and what was the outcome? Do you feel it accomplished what it was set to accomplish? Did it somehow help the community? Did it deliver what it was supposed to deliver at the end?
Yeah, I'm not the right person to ask about Barnstable. I was a department head at the time, and I was not part of the decision making or impacting because my funds were not actually affected by
Mm-hmm.
operating or general funds. I worked off of a revolving account with parking and weights and measures, which was more of a regional component, licensing, and then asset management also was on based upon the actual sales and disposals of property for my department. So I really wasn't affected by it, but I was included in some of the conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I can tell you though is more accurate, up-to-date information. So what you can see on the slides that are in your packet or that will be also available that Emily did and it's on the website, will be on the website. You'll see that various communities that have done this have different types of percentages, okay? Some
Mm-hmm.
have 20%, some have 15,
Right.
some have all the way up to 35%.
Right.
The law allows you to go up to 35% if you have a seasonal community, and this is why we had the conversations together. If you have the seasonal communities designation, that allows the residential tax exemption to go up to 50%
50%. Yeah.
option for the community. It
Right.
has to be approved every year in the tax classification hearing. The most recent community that just adopted this and started applying this is Eastham, and they are at 3%. I know them personally, the town manager and the assistant town manager from my years of working on
Mm-hmm.
the Cape. And I called up the assistant town manager, who is also the finance director. He's been for years, and he was my former auditor for Yarmouth and Wellfleet when I worked there. So if anybody knows better, it would be him. He's all into the numbers. That's what he lives and breathes. And I had the conversation with him and I asked, is that really true? 3% because everyone else is at 35. I didn't know if it was a typo. And he said, yes, it is 3%. The community is, though, at a 55-45 ratio. So they have 55% seasonal community, seasonal second homeowners versus 45% year-round residential. Okay. So there is a little bit of a gap. It's not 50-50 and it's not the other direction. Okay. So there is more
Mm-hmm.
second homeowners in that community. And they wanted to kind of test it out and see what it would do. So they chose 3% deliberately because taxes can't go up more than 2.5%. So they chose 3% to kind of level the tax rate for those that are eligible and to see what would happen from it and get kind of a sense. So they created almost a pilot program for a test case to then get feedback from the community. Okay. So I don't know exactly what Barnstable did, but I have some sense as far as Eastham because that's real accurate, correct for today, real time kind of data on a community that it has a similar ratio of us in theory. We might not be the 55-45. That stuff is that information is going to be calculated through Emily at a later time. So we'll
Right.
kind of see what the ratio
I
is,
think it's
and
much
that'll
lower
be
than that. Yeah.
exactly, and that'll be put
Yeah.
into the conversation for the March 23rd meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think a lot of it is just a matter of math. Okay. So the percentage,
Yeah.
it really depends, first of all, on your value, on the assessed values. I mean, each community has very different level, right? I mean, what we have
Yeah.
in Great Barrington might not be the same what we see at Cape Cod. And so the math will work differently. And so that also would determine to some degree the percentages. I think that's a lot of kind of what people need to think through what it is that they really want to accomplish here, and then the numbers have to be developed to fit there. I mean, that's kind of how I see that. But
And
this is kind
can we have some other people ask some questions, Milena, or do you have anything specific?
sure. Yeah, no, sorry about that. Yeah.
I just wanted to say real quick, I know that Rich, you had asked Michelle about her question on the split tax rate. Now, Michelle, I just want to let you know
Yes.
that Emily and I are going to incorporate that in all the feedback. We're going to have time to digest all of the feedback that's submitted by March 6th, and we will be incorporating that into kind of anticipating questions. So the split tax rate actually is something that Emily and I are going to look into for you that you brought up from last night and have those kind of answers and analysis done for the March 23rd meeting. Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry, Rich, may I speak? Because
Yes,
it
please.
keeps coming up. The thing is, a wise finance committee member once said to me, even though we have to look at all aspects, even looking at something that's not popular. So every time you hear split tax rate, people get up in arms, but it's part of the equation. And I felt that last night only half the story was told, and that was on the residential exemption. When so many communities that have the residential exemption also accept the split tax rate. So I would like to know, why is that? Also, it isn't just about the math. I have already done some research. I even went into the assessor's records, printing out property cards of many of the people I know using, there's going to be some human issues here. There are going to be people hurt by this. And so I'm really looking forward to some deep discussion on the finance committee, which can't happen tonight. I just want to point out what was done last night. I had 9 questions. I have them right here. And during the course of last night's discussion, I think almost all 9 were addressed, either by the public or by the select board. One of which that is extremely important is, what will be that break-even rate? The example given was like something around 569,000. Well, from a personal point of view, I have a 90-year-old uncle that lives in the family homestead. His house is worth more than that. He's going to pay my share of taxes? No. And he's not the only one. So I agree there's a math aspect. We have to look at the percentages and everything, but there is a human aspect as well. But we got to get into a deeper discussion on it as finance committee members. And same with the seasonal community, same with the split tax rate. I work in Lenox that has the split tax rate, and I have reached out to the town manager's office there for an appointment to sit down and talk about it with them. Because Lenox and Great Barrington are almost parallel communities. Sometimes there's a little bit of dispute exactly who's the hub, but that's, I have a foot in each community there. So I'm hoping that we can have another meeting in the near future where the focus is the residential exemption and the seasonal communities. I'll keep doing some research on the split tax rate, but please keep in mind I'm a public employee as well. And other than having to take a day off to call places, I did that in 2015. This was brought to the table in 2015 by Michael Wise. And I was on the phone constantly with several communities regarding what they were doing. So that being said, I hope the committee would consider having a meeting that's primarily devoted to this topic.
Madonna, you have had your hand up for some time.
Well, I just wanted to say that I don't want to add more to your burden, Rich, but this is an important topic, and we don't have to be relegated to on a Tuesday. We could find another day, and if you could put maybe you and Liz could put some numbers out, dates out, and then we could see how many of us, as long as we have a quorum. I mean, it seems like we're all in agreement that this is a really important topic. And, within the next few weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, give us time to research and give us time to, review and then we'll meet, even if it's, a different date. I mean,
Well,
you
I
know,
agree. We have to meet in February in order to discuss this. I think any meeting that we have in February, this would be our primary focus. I
Mhm.
mean, it's possible for us to also review the fiscal year 25 completed if we have that before that particular date. Maybe Ally, you or Liz can let me know when a completion date of that is there, but surely we can find a date. I'm not concerned about that. What I'm concerned about is we're talking about something that we don't yet have enough data on to figure out how it affects um, particular residents in town, and I'm not sure how we can get that. I think it doesn't make sense if we don't know how many second homeowners there are in town, as opposed to how many primary residents we have, and also to knowing where that cutoff is, because I heard several figures bandied about last night,
Mhm.
and how can we have a complete discussion or as a committee come to a consensus and say something if we don't have enough data to be able to look at the issue? Because it is, I mean, as Milena is saying, it is a matter of numbers at some level, and we know that people are actually affected. That is absolutely true. And that's why we want to be certain what we're actually talking about. Because I think that it's easy to just talk about, I see it this way, I want it this way. But if we don't have the math, it's a little, I mean, what are we going to have a meeting on in March? Are we just going to talk about everyone's concerns and all the questions that came up that nobody still has any answers for? Or will we be able to come to some recommendation regarding this? Liz, I know I'm just babbling on, but maybe you can see. Do you understand what I'm trying to come to here?
Yes. Yes. So, just as a reminder on the meetings, you are meeting together already on established dates in February for the budget meetings. So you
Right.
are already meeting on those dates. Those have been reserved. So I don't know if it's going to exhaust you even more to add on a separate meeting prior or after that time. But I'm just the select board are doing kind of the same thing. They're already meeting on certain dates that they're gonna like tack on before or after budget meetings so they can get some more administrative items done. But to that end, Rich, on your question, yes, it will, some preliminary kinds of discussion or uh, numbers will be explored by Emily to give us kind of just a sample of it, because it won't be 100%, and that is really what Emily was really stressing last night, that it is not 100%. We will not know, and this is also confirmed by Eastham, that they had a certain kind of concept of what the estimated numbers of second homeowners versus year-round residents are, but until you actually send out the tax bills and then you go through the abatement process, will you get that first round that establishes more of real factual impacts on it. So again, this is just theory conversations that we have to understand that these are all theories. So again, Emily can do a sample, but we cannot until we go through it. And that's why in Eastham, they're doing it as a pilot program. They're testing it out for 3%. And then if it doesn't work, they're going back to zero. But it actually, they're moving it up to, they're considering it for 15% next. So they're fluctuating back and forth. But I will have more information in the end of March, the March 23rd. Emily's going to be, again, working on trying to gather a sample. Okay.
Okay, Anne,
Yeah,
your hand has been up.
I guess I came away from last night's meeting feeling it's a lot more complicated than I thought going into that meeting. And people raised really good questions that I hadn't thought about. And but I do want to circle back to, if we don't have information and we don't have the data we need to evaluate things, I'm not sure what we're going to be talking about. And Liz, if you said the goal is for March 23rd, and is that correct?
For the second, like part two
Right.
of public conversation about it.
So I guess I'm wondering why wouldn't we wait and go have that March meeting and then meet? Because then we'll have a lot more. I mean, that's my assumption is we'd have a lot more information. Otherwise, right, I think, I think a lot of people raised questions but I just don't know the answers. And so I don't know how to evaluate at this point.
I think at this point, let's see, did you want to respond to that, Liz, or shall we move to someone else? Milena, you've had your hand up. Liz, go ahead.
Liz, if you want to say something.
No, I was just going to say, I think there's two different perspectives here, Anne. You have your individual perspective,
Right, I
and
get that,
then
yeah.
the impact as the finance committee.
Right.
And how is it going to impact the operations and the revenue and expenditures that is within your jurisdiction as the finance committee, as well as the vitality of the community. And so you have to look at your charge for the finance committee and use
Right.
that as your guide when you're doing this as a collective body. And then you can then have the perspective on how you anticipate or look at it as an individual property owner, and what is your personal story that you anticipate or have some concerns about. That is really what I believe that the select board is looking at for the board and committees versus the individuals, to kind of have the advisory committees give their perspective on the pros and cons as we see the information today, and then everybody's personal stories and perspectives.
So I'm sorry. So on this March meeting, you want boards to come in front of the select board with their,
No. So what
Oh,
happened
okay.
is that March 6th is the deadline for comments to be submitted. So everybody has kind of 5 weeks to review the material as it sits from Emily's presentation last night, as well as any individual research that you do. So it is, then I will collect all of those comments from boards, committees, and commissions, as well as the public, put that into a full report, and then Emily, and we will start basically part two from all of the feedback that has been received, and then it'll guide the conversation for March 23rd moving forward. So
I see, but you do want then the finance committee to
Right.
bring some things to your attention by March 6th?
that's correct, as well as like,
Okay.
any board or committee. What does conservation think of it? What does Board of Health think of it? What are all of the perspectives that
see.
it utilizes and guides the taxpayers as well as the select board?
And Michelle, I see you nodding your head, but I just want to be clear then. So we're not making a recommendation by March 6th. We're bringing concerns to you by March 6th.
So
That's
we're
correct.
bringing
Yes.
questions.
Questions and concerns. Got
It
it.
may be the
Okay.
same questions that came up at the meeting yesterday. It may be additional questions. We
Okay.
might have a little bit more knowledge about what those questions are, but this is still just
I
at
got
the
it.
preliminary stage, right? We're not making a recommendation.
Thank you. I misunderstood earlier.
100%.
Okay.
100%. The purpose of this was back in December.
Okay.
Remember, this was something that was directed or asked of the board to have a more thorough conversation and deeper dive into it. And this
Okay.
is what's happening. The board is allowing the full community to have an actual participation in the discussion. So it's going to be done in chunks as we go forward, but it can't be done in just one meeting and then a decision's made. So we have to, as Michelle said, the more that you learn, the more your perspective kind of changes and shifts, and then you reveal new things that could impact your decision making. So I mean, just with Michelle's split tax rate is one example. Last night, another one was talking about the affordable housing tax exemption. So those kinds of things we need to discuss and evaluate before any real decisions are made, whether we go to town meeting or and take it to the next level.
If I may ask, Liz, one thing that I'm kind of lacking from this whole discussion here, what is the ultimate objective for this? What is it we are trying to accomplish here? Because I think depending on the objective, we can have very different approaches here.
Yeah, I think it's the objective, I think, is to get a consensus from the community.
No, I know, but I'm saying, what is the objective for implementing some things as residential tax exemption here? What is the objective in that the select board sees by doing that? What are they trying to accomplish here?
I think to relieve some of the tax burden on those that are more vulnerable with their
Okay.
property values. But it was discussed also that this is about property values, not of income. So that was another perspective that was brought
Okay,
up
that's very
last night.
different. Yeah,
That it's very different.
yeah.
So again, it's not clear cut black and white. It adds a lot of personal stories, just like Michelle talked about her uncle. There's these personal impacts that need to be considered when you are making decisions like this. So when somebody is asking the select board to evaluate this, that's what this exercise is doing exactly, is that we're evaluating it, we're taking our time, we're not rushing into a decision, we're reaching out for real community input. So that's really the objective, I think, Milena, is to get as much input and feedback before, so then we can really decide if it is something that the community is supporting or not.
Michelle, did you have further questions?
Not questions, comments.
Comments?
The thing is, in my experience in town government, which has been over the years, there always seems to be this, and then for lack of better words, mad rush to comply with the annual town meeting. This is one thing that I really hope we don't do that. If we have to have a special town meeting, we'll have a special town meeting. I mean, look at us already. We're trying to figure out a meeting date to discuss this among finance committee members. And we're going, well, because of this meeting, because of that meeting and everything. I don't, like I said, until I have a general idea what a break-even amount is, I have a real issue with this.
I think that is my point as well. Unless I really have an idea of where this break-even
these are the
point
things,
is.
Rich,
Yeah.
that I want to discuss with my fellow finance committee members. You have to remember, at last night's meeting, you get 3 minutes. Nothing I do takes 3 minutes. Okay. It's all right. That being said, I would welcome the opportunity to have an in-depth discussion with my fellow finance committee members, and not before a budget meeting or anything, but a designated time where we can do this. And it's early enough. We're fresh. We've done our individual research. We all have come in from different perspectives. That's what makes serving on a committee a good thing. It's not a group think all the time. It's like, oh, I didn't think of that. I didn't think of this and everything. So I know I want to do more research. And then, whatever happens, you come to the table. And someone with your expertise, Liz, or Allie, or whoever, can say, well, that's not quite the take on that, because you have a stricter view of things. But Rich, I would really like it if we can discuss when we can get together to discuss this.
Yes, I would like to do that, but I wanted to hear everybody's questions before I dived into picking a date.
like I said last night, there was opportunity for if finance committee people were there to say something. And so I'm going to be really interested to hear what everybody else has to say.
So can I ask the committee, what is everyone's calendar on the week of February 16th? Because the 24th would have been our next standard meeting date. But I'm opening up, I'm available Tuesday through Friday evening of that week. Does anyone else have any availability?
Rich, I still had the 17th on my calendar, actually.
Well,
So
yes, I mean, we could do the 17th, which
I,
would be our old meeting date. We could
I
do
can do the
that.
17th. Yeah, I'll make it happen.
Madonna or Milena, is the 17th possible for
Yeah,
you?
that works for me. I'm
How
fine.
about Madonna?
It might. I don't know. I can't get my calendar,
You're
but
not sure yet?
I'll make
Okay.
it happen. I'll make it happen.
okay.
Okay,
There we go.
I think that would be the most sensible date because it gives us a few weeks to
Yeah.
do our research and read all of that material that Liz has provided thoroughly. I mean, I saw some of it, Liz, but it was so much I couldn't possibly review it all before tonight. So I think this would be very helpful for all of us, and that our primary agenda item is just going to be this discussion because we're going to be diving into the budget
budget,
meetings on the
right.
I
24th
would agree.
already.
It's almost like we have too many items on even this agenda.
Well,
I'm
of
getting
course,
hungry. I'm sorry.
we had to get through everything. My apologies, but we had to get through everything.
I understand, but I think one solid, let's focus on this and let's talk it out. And you
Is
said that's the
the
17th?
17th at 6 p.m. as normal. Is everyone in agreement to that? Michelle?
I just want to say something that I'm looking at my calendar here. That's school vacation week, which takes some pressure off of me at work. I'm still working. I'm not on vacation, but I don't have kids running around my desk or anything like that. So if people would like to meet
meet after
earlier,
5?
like at 5, but I don't know how it works with other
Well, I know
schedules.
that your schedule, Anne, would probably
Actually, that 5 works on
5
Tuesday.
o'clock.
Mhm,
Hold on
mhm.
just a moment. Let me see.
Yeah, my schedule this semester, I could do 5 p.m.
Yeah,
Yes, I have surgery at 8 a.m., but I'm fine by that time. And it's not a
Oh.
big deal. You won't even see all the scars this time. They'll be on my back. Ooh, fun.
Rich, I mean, honestly, I just want to make sure you're not,
No,
you'll be
absolutely
okay?
fine.
Okay,
Absolutely
okay,
fine. I've gone through
okay,
this plenty and I'll go through it again.
okay.
No light skinned person who lived in San Diego for 40 years is not
Oh,
going
yeah,
through this.
okay, okay.
and
Okay.
I just want to point out something. Vivian Orlowski's had her hand raised. I don't know if people have seen it.
I did. I was waiting until we
Okay.
finished our discussion.
I just
But
want to
Vivian, I see your
also,
hand.
I just want to just quickly let you know that I do have a collection of links of other communities that have both
Oh,
the
good.
residential
Yeah.
tax exemption and or have considered it, and they too have other presentations and slides. So
Oh.
I have other research and for
So
also the
great.
seasonal communities that I will give to you to assist you with your research. Okay, so I will send all of those links and attachments for you as well. Okay.
And there
Liz,
is a ton of information out
There
Liz,
there.
would
is, yeah.
Yeah.
Liz, could I ask, is it okay if you could send it to all 5 committee members? Because sometimes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
sometimes the transition from me to everyone, I lose. I don't know
Yeah,
why it
agree.
happens, but sometimes I lose the attachments, some of
Yeah,
them.
I'll send it. Just remember it is being sent to the full board. Please do
Yes.
not reply all because you cannot deliberate outside of public
Yes,
meeting, okay? So
absolutely.
please just understand that do not reply all, okay? Thank you.
That sounds great.
All
That
right.
sounds
Can I
great.
promote Vivian up to speak?
Yes,
All set?
please.
Okay. Vivian, I'm
Vivian,
just promoting you up.
please go
All
ahead,
right.
Vivian.
Thank you. I just have a quick question and request. As as those of you who were at the presentation before the select board and saw the excellent slideshow by Emily, there was one part of that that was brought up for correction. And it was brought up by former chair of the planning board and longtime planning board member Jonathan Hankin, so somebody who knows his way around data and data presentations. And the correction was that on her scenarios, she had 1, 2, and 3 scenarios, and the columns were no RTE, year-round, and seasonal. But what was deceptive was that seasonal also includes local, long-time, year-round. Let's say it should be seasonal and year-round fees that would be added on. And like in scenario 2 at 20%, it's an additional $1,269 and change for the tax bill. So if this presentation is going to be made public and used for all the committees and commissions and boards and the public to comment on, I would ask, I guess, whether it be the finance committee or whether it would be Liz or whether it would be Allison, that someone needs to post something right on those pages saying, or have it corrected, although what was presented last night was the original. I don't know how you want to do it, but that needs to be corrected.
Thank you, Vivian. I appreciate those comments. So I'm glad we have our next meeting date of February 17th, and we're all quite clear what our upcoming meeting schedule is. Thank you, Liz. Is there no other things we need to discuss as a committee? Correct?
Sorry, I just want to make sure that I didn't miss. We are meeting at 5, right, on the
Yeah.
17th?
5 p.m.
Okay,
on the 17th.
thank you.
Great. And so citizen speak time, was there anyone besides Vivian who had any comments?
Rich, I'm sorry, I just wanted to highlight, just because of the agenda, it says discussion of school finance subcommittee. Do you want to
Oh,
just
yes.
table that? Do you want to table that? I just want
Well,
to.
the only
I'd
reason
like
I
to
put it,
table it. Can we table it?
yes,
It's
I would
really
like to
late.
table it. We have gone through a lot of material right now, and I think this is a very important project.
All right, Michelle has her hand up?
Michelle?
No?
No?
No, don't worry
Okay.
about, yeah.
It's
If we're gonna
difficult.
table it.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah, that's
the
fine,
next
that's,
meeting,
So are there
because,
any
I
other
did have a comment.
any other citizens who would like to speak at Citizen Speak Time?
yeah, I do have somebody, James wants to talk, and I'm gonna promote him to talk.
Very good.
So,
Good evening. I'll make this quick. It's James 84 North Lane Road. I just want to
Hi,
say,
James.
Anne, Rich, and Michelle, really sad to hear you're not going to be in the committee next year, but thank you for all your work. Sincerely, it's not easy. And I have a lot of comments, but for another time. But thank you, Anne, Rich, and Michelle, for all your work. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
James. We'll still be here for several months.
yeah.
Very good.
Save your comments. Yeah,
Okay.
yes,
I think that was it. James just hasn't put his hand down.
it's okay, I got it, yeah.
So any media, from the media, any questions? Hearing none, I move that we adjourn this meeting for today, and thank you all very much. Do I have a
Thank you,
second?
everyone.
Thank
Second.
you.
Okay.
All in favor? Yep.
All in
Okay,
favor?
yeah. Bye. Good night.
Thank
Very
you.
good.
Bye.